Hi everyone, welcome to this linguistic and economic exploration. In this video, we delve into a term that sits at the intersection of language, trade, and power, tariff. It is a word that travels across continents and centuries, through empires and markets, shaped by the flow of commerce and culture alike. In the following, we will first unpack the concept of a tariff, then trace its etymological journey from Arabic, through Persian, Turkish, Latin, Medieval Latin, Italian, French, and into English. Finally, we will relate this historical and linguistic evolution to the modern global trade landscape, closing with reflections on how language preserves and reflects our shared economic realities. What is a tariff? At its core, a tariff is a tax or duty imposed by a government on goods imported from, or sometimes exported to, other countries. There are generally two main types. Ad valorem tariffs, based on a percentage of the item's value. Specific tariffs, based on a fixed amount per unit of goods. Tariffs serve multiple purposes. Revenue generation, especially in earlier economies. Protectionism, shielding domestic industries from foreign competition. Diplomatic leverage, as tools in trade negotiations and disputes. Tariffs influence prices, supply chains, and even international relations. But before they were tools of modern nation-states, the word itself had its own trade route. Etymological journey of tariff. Let us now follow the linguistic trail of this word. Arabic. Tariff. Our story begins in the Arabic-speaking world. The word tariff originally means notification, definition, or making known. It derives from the root araf, which has meanings related to knowledge, recognition, and making something known. In early contexts, it referred to informing people of a price or value, an essential concept in commerce. Persian. Tariff. As Arabic terminology moved eastward through trade and cultural exchange, Persian borrowed tariff, retaining similar meanings. In Persian, it conveyed ideas of describing, declaring, or specifying, essential in standardizing prices and regulations, especially under expansive empires. Ottoman Turkish. Tariff. Ottoman Turkish, heavily influenced by Persian and Arabic, adopted tariff into its administrative and commercial vocabulary. Ottoman bureaucrats used it in contexts of price regulation and official declaration. Though this form remained more literary or administrative, it paved the way for further linguistic adaptation. Medieval Latin. Tarifa. Through trade with the Islamic world, especially in Al-Andalus, Islamic Spain, and North Africa, the term passed into medieval Latin as tarifa. Here it gained a more economic and commercial connotation, a table of duties or list of prices. The transformation from definition to price schedule reflects the function of trade officials listing costs and taxes on imported goods. Italian. Tariffa. From Latin, the word moved into Italian as tariffa, still retaining the notion of a list or schedule of taxes or fees. Given Italy's maritime republics like Venice, Genoa, and Pisa, and their centrality in Mediterranean trade, tariffa became a key term in customs regulation. French. Tariff. By the 14th century, the word appeared in Old French as tariff, reflecting increasing commercial interaction between France and the Italian city-states. In French, it solidified its meaning as a schedule of charges or duties, often used in the context of customs or postal fees. English. Tariff. Finally, the word entered English in the late 16th to early 17th century as tariff, borrowed directly from French. It was now fully embedded in the lexicon of commerce, economics, and state policy, no longer just a definition, but a powerful instrument of statecraft. Tariffs in the modern global trade landscape. Fast forward to the 21st century, tariffs remain front-page news. United States-China trade war, 2018 to 2021, saw mutual tariff hikes on hundreds of billions of dollars in goods. Brexit brought complex tariff renegotiations between the UK and EU. Global institutions like the World Trade Organization, WTO, work to mediate tariff disputes and reduce trade barriers through multilateral agreements. Yet the fundamental purpose remains: protection of domestic interests or strategic use in negotiation and pressure. But with global supply chains and interdependent economies, tariffs can backfire, raising costs, disrupting manufacturing, and even straining political alliances. What began as a definition in Arabic has become a tool of global economic warfare or diplomacy, a linguistic and political evolution. Fast forward to April 2025, tariffs are once again at the forefront of global economic discourse. The Liberation Day, tariffs. On April 2, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a sweeping tariff policy dubbed the Liberation Day, tariffs. This policy introduced a baseline 10% tariff on most U.S. imports, with higher rates for certain countries, notably China. The announcement marked the beginning of a global trade war and triggered a global stock market crash. Escalation with China. In response to the U.S. tariffs, China retaliated by imposing tariffs on a wide array of U.S. exports, including energy and machinery. Additionally, China restricted exports of critical minerals like gallium, vital for technology production, and expanded the number of U.S. companies subject to export controls. Tensions with Canada and Mexico. The U.S. also imposed 25% tariffs on all imports from Mexico and all imports from Canada, except for oil and energy, which were taxed at 10%. In retaliation, Canada imposed 25% tariffs on U.S. goods, and Mexico announced plans to increase domestic production to reduce dependence on U.S. imports. Global economic impact. These tariff measures have led to significant economic repercussions. Inflation and supply chain disruptions. The tariffs have increased prices on imported goods, leading to inflationary pressures and disrupting global supply chains. Market volatility. The unpredictability of tariff policies has caused volatility in financial markets, with businesses and investors uncertain about future trade dynamics. Geopolitical realignments. Countries affected by U.S. tariffs are seeking new trade partnerships, leading to shifts in global alliances and trade networks. Conclusion. The word as a map. The term tariff is more than an economic tool. It is a linguistic relic of a global past, charting a path from Arabic scholarship to Persian courts, Ottoman registers, Latin charters, Italian ports, French trade law, and into English legislation. From tariff in Arabic, to make known, to terfe in Persian and Ottoman Turkish, a duty schedule, to tarifa in Latin and tariffa in Italian, to tariff in French, and finally to tariff in English. This word has navigated languages as merchants navigate oceans. It reminds us that economics is not just numbers, it's language. Words, like goods, cross borders, change hands, and accumulate power. And in our world today, where trade policies can destabilize entire regions, we must remember that the language we use reflects the values we uphold and the power we wield. That concludes the etymology of the term tariff, the word and the world, presented to you by Arabella. I hope to see you soon in the next video. Please like, share, and if you have not already done so, consider subscribing to this channel.